Sunday's lesson talks about Nehemiah receiving bad news. In this lesson, we can see four things. Number one, when did Nehemiah receive the bad news? Who brought the bad news? What was the bad news? And what was Nehemiah's response to this bad news? Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 1 gives us the answer to the first question. The Bible says, "It came to pass in the month of Kislev, in the 20th year, as I was in Shushan, the citadel." Nehemiah was in the palace in Persia, and in the 9th month of the 20th year of King Artaxerxes, Nehemiah received a bad news. The month Kislev is the 9th month of the Jewish calendar year. That comes to somewhere between November and December for us today. In 444 BC, Nehemiah, in the month of Kislev, the 9th month, received bad news. Who brought the bad news? Verse 2 tells us that Hanani, one of my brethren, came with men from Judah, and I asked them concerning the Jews who had escaped, who had survived the captivity, concerning Jerusalem. Hanani, one of my brothers, Nehemiah says. That means this bad news was trustworthy. Nehemiah could believe this news. Hanani, one of the Jews who came from Jerusalem, brought this news to Nehemiah. What was the bad news? Verse 3 gives us the answer. Nehemiah chapter 1 verse 3. "And they said to me, the survivors who are left from the captivity in the province are there in great distress and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem is also broken down, and its gates are burnt with fire." What happened? The Jews, they returned to Jerusalem during the first time when Cyrus gave the decree. 80 years later, a second group went to Jerusalem under the leadership of Ezra. And now Nehemiah, in 444 BC, he received the news that they tried their best to rebuild Jerusalem. But while they were rebuilding Jerusalem, while they were rebuilding the temple, while they were rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, they received opposition, challenges. And so the rebuilding could not continue. And so Nehemiah, when he received this bad news, what was his response? I think, my brothers and sisters, here is a model for us what we must do when you and I receive bad news in this 21st century. We find the response of Nehemiah in chapter 1, verse 4. "So it was when I heard these words that I sat down and wept and mourned for many days. I was fasting and praying before the God of heaven." Nehemiah, when he received the bad news, yes, he was sad. Yes, he wept. But he didn't stop with that. He fasted and prayed before God. Because we have God, we should not be disturbed by what we hear. We should not be disturbed by what is going on around us. Yes, they can disturb us. Sometimes they can derail us. But we have a God who is almighty, who is all-powerful, who is ever-present. God said, "Call upon me in the day of trouble, and I will answer you." You and I worship the same God. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Nehemiah began to pray to God. In tomorrow's lesson, we will be looking at Nehemiah's prayer. But until then, when you have bad news, take it to the Lord in prayer, because we have a God who cares for each one of us. God bless you.